I had only 2 success criteria for this summer. Success criteria number 1, try and re-sign every player we had on loan last year, either permanently or on loan for another season. And 2, bring in an absolute ton of 5-star potential youngsters from the Premier League. This has been a successful summer. Hello and welcome to part 64 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're going to go through quite a lot of transfers. We're not going to look at all of them individually. We'll meet them as the season goes on. I think there might have been more than ever, but we're going to have a look at the key signings. Plus, we'll play our first game of the new league season at home against Fylde. Couple of important headlines. That was an unusual tone of voice. Hang about. How is our committed spending there? But we're not signing anybody, are we? I don't think we're bringing anyone else in. Oh, okay. Apparently, I'm still bringing players in. Ignore that. I'm probably not going to sign all of them. I can't imagine I plan to. I don't really know what past Kev was up to there. But importantly, we have lowered the deficit to just £100,000 overdrawn. We haven't been in a positive for 4 years at this point. So if we sell a player, and I think we probably will still be selling Sawyer before the transfer window closes because we keep getting £250,000 offers for him. I'm holding out for 350,000. But if it's deadline day and someone comes in with £250,000 again, I hope none of my competitors are watching. But if we get a £250,000 offer on deadline day, and that's the only one he's going for £250,000, so we should have at least £250,000 coming in from the sale of Sawyer as well, which will put us in a financial positive, like I say, for the first time in 4 years, which will be amazing. Goals for this season. The media are looking for us to finish mid-table again, I think. Media prediction of 11th, so an improvement of 1. No, I think we finished 10th last year, didn't we? So they think we're going to get worse, which we're not going to get worse. And the board are looking for mid-table. Well, we'll definitely achieve mid-table. That's for sure. I think we should be able to have a push for the playoffs. And these are all the transfers that have gone on. Like I say, there's been a few. We'll start with the players who've left. So if we have a look at our released players, there are a couple of notable ones on there. We've said goodbye to Rowan Ince, Ted Can, Lionel Stone, Livesey Mason, Omar. Poor old Livesey Mason. I do feel bad about letting him go. But he's still only 24. It's a little bit of a different situation to Sir Tom Elliott. Bristol Rovers want him, which would be a cracking move for him. But he's already a club legend. He had those 3 amazing years for us. He's not good enough for league football. He needs to go and just tear it up in the conference for the next 10 years. And hopefully by releasing him, he'll be able to do that and go and become a legend for someone else. Omar's left as well. And then a whole bunch of the youngsters that we brought in last summer have all moved on. And we also had a few players who've been snapped up by bigger clubs again. We need to keep a bit of an eye on some of these youth players. Kevin Taylor's gone to Partick. Perhaps we should have offered him a contract. Sean Curtis to Hamilton. Freddie Bremner to Leeds. We need to be a little bit careful that we're not letting any real top talent get away. But I'm not massively worried. How did that lad who went to Bristol City last year do? Did he go to Bristol City? Was it? Yeah, James Byrne went to Bristol City. He's still in there under 23s. I mean, he's not exactly pulling up any trees, is he? So I'm not that worried about that. So, significant transfers of the summer. Firstly, Jamal Redhead has signed permanently. He was been with us on loan for the last 2 seasons. He's now here permanently, and because he's here permanently, he can go back into the team again because we had to drop him when we brought the midfielder from Man United, whose name I can't remember. Skelton, is that his name? We had too many loans, so Redhead can now re-enter the team. Josh McDonald has signed on a free transfer from Bristol City. I think that's a massive transfer. 26 goals in League 2 last year, and in his career, 81 goals from 138. What a signing that is. And also, we signed his strike partner as well, if I can find him. Dan Fisher. Took a little bit longer to convince him to come, but Dan Fisher has also signed permanently. 22 goals in League 2 last year, and again a cracking career total as well, albeit in non-league for a lot of them. James Ball has signed permanently. We really had a struggle to get James Ball to come in. £1.5 million. £1.5 million? £1,500 a week destroys the wage structure we've been trying to put in place. but he's just a very, very good attacking midfield player. We've had him for 3 years. We need to keep him around for much longer. So it was worth having a bit of a splurge on Ball. Other than that, we've just signed a lot of your typical Premier League youngsters. We're not going to go through all of these. Like I say, I'll introduce them to you as they make their way into the first team. But we have brought in a couple of loans again. Caelan Garrick is a 20-year-old striker from Aston Villa who he's not as good as what we've got, but he has the potential to be better than what we've got. So he's going to come in and mix it up with our first team strikers. And also Miles Darwent is come in to offer some competition for James Ball as an attacking midfielder on loan from Reading. 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. In theory, better than Ball. Kinda don't want to have to drop Ball though, but Darwent can play as a striker or a central midfielder as well. So lots of players making their way in. One thing we haven't done this summer, which we'd always done previously, we haven't signed a marquee experienced player. I guess you could say maybe Ball is that player at age 23, or Redhead I think is 23 as well. So we've just brought 22 but 42 international caps. So we have brought in players with experience, even McDonald and Fisher, but they're just players who were with us before. So we haven't signed a Rowan Ince or player equivalent to that this summer. And of course Sir Tom Elliott is still at the club, as he will be forever, but there's no way to offer him any kind of coaching stuff. So I think once he's done as a player, he's done. And he's still not even on the favoured personnel list. So this is the team we're putting out there for the first day of the new season. It has a very familiar look to it. This is the model that we use now. This is pretty much a team. Well, it is exactly a team that could have played for us last year. Apart from the loan restrictions, would have stopped all 11 of these from being on the pitch at the same time. But it's a solid team that finished mid-table last year, and we've got a lot of the youngsters and the newer players on the bench ready to force their way through from there, plus a massive under 23 and under 18 squad to offer further competition and hopefully have a few stars develop as the season goes on. The one injury that we've got for the first day of the new season is Bobby Joe Worrell-Bristow picked up a knock right at the end of pre-season, so we've stuck Sawyer out at right back for today. We probably have better options at right back, but I want to keep Sawyer in the team because I kind of want to sell him now. It's not a case of I'm holding out for money because I don't really want him to go. I'm holding out for money because I think we need the money. Laskowski and Redhead is a perfectly good enough central defensive partnership, and we've got backup at the likes of Burns and some of the new players who came in over the summer. So I kind of don't want to break up this centre-back partnership, which is my plan for the season, Laskowski and Redhead. Sawyer will probably be their reserve if he doesn't leave, or he might knock Laskowski out of the team, but for now we'll just keep him in there at right back so Hearts notice him. I mean, it's Hearts who've been after him, the one who Williams went to, who is available for loan, but they won't loan him to a lower league English club. He's played one game for Hearts. I tried to bring him back because I think that would have been a cracking signing. So, our team, don't worry, Robbie Nadat's in goal. We've got a back four of Anderson, Laskowski, Redhead and Sawyer, with Squire, Bill, Chambers, Shaw and Skelton in midfield, and then Ball in behind McDonald and Fisher. That front three excites me even more now than it did on the first day of last season, because on the first day of last season, all three of them were loanees. Now they're all permanent Nuneaton players, and hopefully they'll reward me for the faith I've shown in them by just being made of awesome. Let's give some squad numbers out to some of these youngsters who are filling up our bench and get out there and see what we can do. In theory, and people often ask me about how signing so many players in the summer affects dynamics. Because almost all of them come into the under-23s, it doesn't really affect first-team dynamics at all. As you can see, we've signed like 20 players, but our starting 11 were all here last year. So team familiarity-wise, dynamics-wise, they're all still maxed out, and we'll just drip players into this team as the season goes on, as we need them, or as we decide we want to swap some players around. And there's Dan Fisher, 30 seconds on the clock for the new season. He's got his first goal as a permanent Nuneaton player, and goodness me, have I got high hopes for the entire front three for this season. If we don't get like 60 goals between the three of them this year, I'll be a bit disappointed. And I think a 60 goal front three is, I mean, you have to mess up quite a lot elsewhere in the squad or in the team to not at least make it into the playoffs with a front three scoring goals for fun. The way I imagine these three, a year older and more used to each other, should be able to. Right, Ball, already on a yellow card and just sort of flinging himself around. which is a little bit of a worry. But Fisher picks up the ball quite deep, finds Chambers Shaw. He sprays it forward to Skelton. That was a lovely ball. Skelton, he fires it wide. Skelton's also already on a yellow card. That's probably our two main creative forces from that midfield. Both already on yellow cards. What are the pair of them doing? Tackling, ever. There's no reason for them to be tackling. Right, Chambers Shaw to Squire Bill. And ball back to Chambers Shaw again. Where's my beverage? I'm losing my voice already. I'm so excited at the new season. And now I notice my camera battery's about. There we go. Camera recovered. Corner comes in. Redhead heads it over. And it's still 1-0. We've looked very, very good to start this match off. I don't know where Fylde were last season. I'm pretty sure Fylde weren't in our division last year. So I don't know if they've come up or come down. But I'm kind of hoping they got relegated and we're making a team that were in League One last year look pretty weak. If it's a newly promoted team, then it's less impressive. Now we're 2-0 up after 27 minutes and I want to find out what league they were playing in last year. So Fylde were in our league last year. Does anyone remember AFC Fylde last season? I certainly don't, but they're a team we should be beating on that basis. We finished well above them last year. That's a lovely little free kick over the top from Skelton. Squire Bill does well, fires it in from a tight angle. He's looking more and more like Sir Tom Elliott every time he plays, which of course is why he is Squire Bill, because he was Sir Tom Elliott's squire this time last year when he arrived as one of the many youngsters who came in last summer. And pretty much immediately, along with Chambers Shaw, they were two of the main ones from last year's masses of youth who fairly quickly established himself in the first team, and they're now well-established first-team players. I mean, where's Nyron Hurd? We don't see much of him anymore, do we? Because those two have come in and dominated a player who, this time last summer, I was super excited about because we'd managed to sign him permanently and I thought he was too good for us. Well, now we're too good for him. That's how quickly some of these youngsters progress. Skelton, lovely ball to McDonald, and it's 3-0. And Skelton is playing the game of his life. That was a pass and a half from Skelton. And first order of business when this game ends is to try and extend his loan for another season, because he's on loan from Man United, so presumably he's going to have a fairly long contract. He's playing like that on the first day of the new season. Let's get him tied down till the end of next season. I don't think there's going to be any chance of us being too good for him at any point in the next 2 years. And plus, we're not paying him a penny anyway. So even if that does happen, it doesn't matter. We'll just send him back or let him rot in the reserves. It's 4-0 after 35 minutes. This is madness. This is the advantage of going into the first day of the new season with 11 players who were here last year. Fill out the under-23s and have an unchanged team on the first day of the season who all know each other, all get on well, and are excited because they're here permanently. I feel dirty doing this. I've talked about it a couple of times, how I couldn't do this transfer policy in non-league to legend. It goes against everything I stand for when it comes to realism. Oh yeah, we're Nuneaton, and we're just going to sign 25 players released by Premier League teams every summer. They'll be our only signings, and then we'll just load them all out to balance the books, and a few will make it into the team, and then we'll release them all the next year. It's not how the world works, but it's working for Nuneaton, and let's face it, before we brought this policy in, we were never even going to make it out of the National League. Now, 3 years into this transfer policy, I think this is the third year, we've got a chance to push up into League One this season if we can continue playing for the rest of the season as well as we're playing right now. There's always the chance that Fylde are just super rubbish and we're flattering ourselves a little bit with 4 first-half goals on the first day of the season, but I don't mind a little bit of flattery. Right, Andrew Skelton, could we even do it right now? What's his Man United contract situation? He's got another year with them, so can we end of next season? There you go. You had such a good first half, Andrew. We're offering you another year at half-time while you're sucking on your orange segment. Fingers crossed that all gets tied up before the next episode. Well, it needs to be before the next episode because the window will be closed by the time we do the next episode. But having him tied down for another season, that's going to be important. That's going to be super, super important. I might do the same thing with Robbie Nadak because I know you lot love him. And by that point, he'll have been here for 4 years by the end of next season, and I will be justified in playing him constantly. Kirby's not your player. Yeah, but he's played more games in goal than anyone but Dean Linus for me at this point, I think. Actually, that's probably not true. This is only the second season he's actually been a starter. The season before, he was Ted Can's reserve all year and made his debut at Wembley, didn't he? It's 4-2. Nadat showing us all why he's He's not very good. But we don't care. Imagine how good we'd be as a team if we had a goalkeeper. All summer, couldn't find one. You'll notice Mike Payne is up on the bench today. We released Can over the summer, so we're not sending Payne out on loan this year. The guy we signed last summer, who everyone said, he's your best keeper, play him, and he didn't even get a sniff and we loaned him out. He might get a sniff this year. Dan Fisher to finish off his hat-trick and fires it wide. We've had 5 clear-cut chances to their 1 and we're only winning 4-2. So we're not defending very well and we're not even being as efficient going forward as we could be, but you can't really fault the performance from the strikers. They've missed 1 clear-cut chance based on the stats. Right, James Ball not having the best of games. Jamie Blackford, I think, is an attacking midfield player. So, as I promised, let's meet him. Jamie Blackford is an 18-year-old English attacking midfield player. Can also play in central midfield or as a striker. 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. So not as good as either Darwin or Ball, but the potential to be better than both. Never played a game of football. Well, presumably he's played a game of football, but never a competitive game of football. Comes in on a free from Middlesbrough and fancies himself as something of a playmaker, does he? Well, who am I to tell him he can't make play? So we'll make him a playmaker. And Laskowski is booked and not playing particularly well. We're going to bring on Paul Sheridan for him, who is one of our new players. He's a right back. So have a look at Paul Sheridan, 18 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. There's a few clubs who want to take him on loan. I'm not that interested in letting him go because, according to my coaches, he's the best right back we've got, better than the man of 4 names with better potential now, as Bobby Joe is now 23. And although he still has 4-star potential, he's been with us, 5 years and not actually started to fulfil any of that potential ever. So I don't think it's going to start happening now. So Sheridan gets an opportunity at right back, allowing us to move Sawyer back over to centre back to show the world what he can do to try and entice some transfer bids out of particularly Hearts, if they're watching. Are you watching, Hearts? I would like you to give me big piles of money for my player like you did in January. We need to sell. If we sell one player for £250,000 plus every transfer window, we'll operate at a profit. That's the transfer model. And now we've got Dan Fisher taking a penalty with the opportunity to get his hat-trick and put us 5-2 up. He does both. Dan Fisher has a first day of the season hat-trick. We have been absolutely rampant today. Look at those stats. This is awesome. Is that a sentence I just said? Look at those stats. This is awesome. Oh, I've become one of them. Someone hit me round the head or something quick. I need a frying pan. Robin Haddad just not having a very good game at all. Bless his cotton socks. We're going to take off Sawyer. He's on a yellow card. He's struggling a little bit for fitness. And we'll get some game time into Philip Burns. Philip Burns, we don't need to introduce you to because we met him last year. He played one game for us last year before we sent him out on loan to St Albans. But he's come back a new man, and he is going to be my backup centre-back once Sawyer leaves. So we need to get some games for Nuneaton into him so that he knows what to expect. And what he should expect is to have to do a lot of defending. But he doesn't have to be very good at it, and he'll still stay in the team. 3 minutes left. I don't think we can throw this away from here. Fylde have still only had 1 clear-cut chance in the entire game. We've absolutely dominated them, but Scunthorpe have done even better than us, and they're going to end the match top of the league, I think, with us sat there in second place after scoring 5 goals. What madness is this? Come on, gentlemen, let's have a 6th. We want 6 on the first day of the season, because that would be marvellous. I mean, 5 is pretty marvellous as well. Chambers Shaw, forward to Skelton, and that is it. That felt good. We are going up this season, boys and girls. And then we've actually got 2 local derbies coming up straight away. Villa in the Cup, and then we might just roll straight into, on the next episode, Villa and Coventry. We don't normally do this, but that was such an impressive performance. I kind of want to see how how we carry it up through. And with them being 2 of our most local teams, I think we might do that. We'll go straight into that in the next episode. If you've enjoyed that today, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.